All right, let's go ahead and I would say put this to rest once and for all. I didn't want to bring any video that Reforge had made into my content anymore. I'm not interested because he says a lot of things and I'm like, it just leaves a lot of exposure. However, this one actually is a little bit, important in the sense that this is regarding, or I brought a game into it that I've been talking about for a long time. So a little bit of context here. Reforge talks about how if Xbox actually had games that were exclusive, it would make for the banter more interesting. So maybe he wants to banter with so-called Xbox fans. And so I was thinking to myself, how does Xbox not actually have Xbox games? These games are Xbox games. They belong to Xbox. Forza belongs to Xbox. Halo Gears belong to Xbox. But these guys, somehow, because these games are going to PlayStation, in their minds, they kind of dissociate it from belonging to Xbox. So I put a reply on the video. Do you know what my reply was? I said, MLB The Show is a PlayStation game. This isn't an argument. It's just a bunch of empty words. MLB The Show is a PlayStation game. MLB The Show is factually a PlayStation game. To that, an audience member replied and said, MLB The Show IP is owned by MLB, not Sony. This isn't an argument because somehow they thought they made a strong case. But what they failed to realize was I never said the IP or the license to the IP belonged to PlayStation. And if you look, I don't have Twitter Blue. My comment said, MLB The Show is a PlayStation game. PlayStation San Diego Studios or Sony San Diego Studios actually make the game. It is a PlayStation game. How we know it's a PlayStation game is when you launch the freaking game, it shows you Sony Interactive Entertainment as one of the main characters when you actually fire the game up. I've basically taken on MLB The Show to go ahead and make this example. As much as PlayStation fans, I know y'all want to go ahead and dissociate yourselves from it. It's understandable, but here's the thing, you can't. So this whole conversation comes into perspective in this particular case because every time MLB The Show gets mentioned, the VG appears there. So I replied and said, just as I said, I guess NBA also owns 2K. Or wait, FIFA owned the soccer games made by EA as well. Y'all play too much. They replied. They said MLB and the Major League Baseball Players Association jointly own the license for the MLB The Show video game. Remember, I never said that PlayStation owns the license. And they said, here's why. This is an AI overview. I mean, you can already see it here. It says the reason why is because the licensing agreement, MLB and MLBPA, are licensors of the MLB intellectual property, player likenesses that are used in the game development and distribution. While Sony Interactive Entertainment and San Diego develop and distribute the game, they do so under a licensing agreement with the MLB and MLBPA. Expansion to the other platforms, MLB made the decision to bring then this is all that talk about MLB made the decision to bring it to other platforms. See, if you're a PlayStation fan, you have to understand that one of the ways that I like to go ahead and engage in conversations is I could simply respond to you, but I actually like to make people figure stuff out. This is what, I've learned in my career. You kind of lead people to the answer, or if they are in a contradiction, you lead them to much more bigger places where they have to force other things to join their contradiction or they abandon it overall. Let me explain to you. So I threw out the FIFA one and the EA one, and I threw out the NBA 2K one. Do you guys notice how I didn't get an answer on that one? Did y'all see that he didn't answer that particular one? Because if you look at NBA and 2K, there's probably a similar license agreement. And with FIFA, when EA was making it as well, even with the FC football game, yes, that would now belong to EA, but all of the likenesses and the clubs and their emblems and their jerseys and their logos and their stadiums will belong to the individual clubs, and they will have licensing agreements that they go into. So I went ahead and dropped another one on them. They said this, but before I dropped it, I listened to what they said. You guys be the judge. Everybody pull your research hats out. Let's go ahead and finalize this thing. They said publishing a game doesn't mean the publisher owns the game. What? I never said that. I specifically said that this game that is developed by a PlayStation studio, published by PlayStation, the game is owned by PlayStation. The license, yes, is owned by MLB. This particular argument that this person is actually delving into is going to, oh, you know what? I'm just going to read. If you don't know, and this is all in uppercase, I don't know if they're yelling or if they're trying to emphasize something. Sometimes, I get it. Raising your voice might be a way to basically get an argument across. I don't know. If you don't know, Sony sold Death Stranding IP to Kojima, and this is why Death Stranding is on X-Flop now, 100%. Okay, so this is a console war thing. Goodness gracious. Sony still having a publishing and marketing deal with Kojima to publish and market Death Stranding on PlayStation, only not X-Flop 100. I said, okay. So we're in the console war thing. Let me destroy and bust your bubble. I said, let me help you out with this other one. And please, let's not use uppercase. Who owns the Marvel Spider-Man game? Miles Morales? Spider-Man 2? Wolverine? Does Sony own the license or the game? Tell me. Does Sony own the license or the game? Raijin Art, you're here in this conversation. You were talking about something about publishing and Death Stranding and stuff. Let's just ask for Spider-Man. If y'all can help me break down the Spider-Man one, I'd be very, very happy. I'd appreciate it very well, sir. Shout out to you, OT, man. I'd love to hear your answer about Marvel Spider-Man and who owns the game and who owns the license. And then let's go from there. How about that? Let me ask it a different way. Is Marvel Spider-Man 2018 a PlayStation game? Let me ask another question. Is Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales a PlayStation game? Let me ask another one. Is Marvel Spider-Man 2 a PlayStation game? Let me ask another one. Is Marvel's Wolverine a PlayStation game? Because I've noticed that Fast and Loose is the way that this game gets played. The moment you mention MLB The Show, most PlayStation fans throw away the baby and the bathwater immediately because they can never have anything to do with this game that has gone to X-Flop. Isn't that how you guys put it? Because it went to X-Flop, right? So it doesn't belong to Kojima. Yuck. Death Stranding doesn't belong to PlayStation anymore. It doesn't belong to Sony anymore. You guys really think, right, that somewhere, somehow, these companies have no ownership in terms of the game? Of course they do. Licensing agreements and stuff can basically go ahead and prohibit, publishing deals and such. But let's not play fast and loose with the ownership in terms of the game and the independence that they have in that game. Or wait, let me see. Is it Lucasfilms that owns Indiana Jones? The game and the Great Circle game? Is it Lucasfilms that... Well, actually, Lucas Games actually jumps in and actually helps in that. So I think they have some level of ownership, actually. So their licensing agreements is actually much wilder, right? So they own the license. EA, Star Wars, Jedi Survivor, Jedi Fallen Order. It's an EA game. It implies some level of trademark and ownership in it. They pay license fees, especially in the case of Spider-Man. We got to see the license fees that they pay, right? Huge license fees. But PlayStation takes the lion's share of that game, regardless of where it's published on, PC or whatever it is. We even saw the licensing agreements for the X-Men game when their whole stuff and their data leaked. So once we start pulling those agreements from that data, OT, are you going to be able to hold your ground on this particular claim that you want to basically jump into? Y'all know exactly what's going on here. We all know exactly what's going on here. But once you say MLB The Show, it really does make things kind of complicated at the end of the day that PlayStation would have a game that goes to... Do you mean to tell me that PlayStation has nothing to do with this game? That they have an entire studio that's just dedicated to making this game for MLB since 1997, and they have no kind of ownership in it? This is got to be the wildest thing I've ever seen in my life. That in one breath, y'all would say that Spider-Man 2 is a PlayStation game and it will never come to Xbox, but then in the same breath, you guys want to dismiss MLB The Show's relationship with PlayStation. Maybe you can eat your cake and have it, but I want to see you do it. I'm sitting here waiting. All right, go ahead and eat your cake and have it in front of me. I want to see it. I'm curious now. I'm curious. Show me that this cake can be eaten and also had back at the same time. Tell me that this game, because its license is owned by Marvel Disney, is not a PlayStation game. Go for it. Come on now. I want to see you. Come on, tell me. Or somewhere, somehow, you have the license agreement on paper. You were invited into the room to sign it, right? Come on now. Give me that data. Give me that evidence that I need. Let's go. Because somewhere, somehow, we've basically, gone to the point where it's like, well, if the game is a license in a sense, yabba dabba 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 dabba. No, show me. Eat your cake and have it in front of me. I'm curious. Here's a glass of milk for you. Go for it. I'm out.